You can definitely make more high-end Dollar Tree DIYs and more sturdy pieces when you opt for glassware from the Dollar Tree. They have great quality products for the $1.25 price point. So today I'm sharing with you some really fun projects, how to use the glassware and make some really fun DIYs that I know you're gonna love. For this first DIY, you can use any of Dollar Tree's jars, but I wanted to upgrade a little bit. I ran into the Dollar General and they had these huge glass jars with wooden lids that I love so much. This is my inspo picture that I thought was so pretty, and what caught my eye was that leather handle. I was obsessed with that and I knew I could create that same look. So I ended up taking one of these leather purses, or their faux leather purses from the Dollar Tree. It's this Juncture brand, and I cut one of the handles off. So I love how it has the little stitching on it, but it is the perfect size. I do trim it down a tiny bit, but going around this wide mouth jar or container, it's more of like a canister. It just looks so beautiful. So I did love the little bead accent on both sides. It looked like it was kind of attached with some metal. So I did take some thumbtacks, just take my wire cutters, pop off the sharp tack piece, and then I'm going to be gluing this on either side as well as the tacks on top and get that same look. And I just love it. I love the colors. I even love mine so much better because I love that soft gray handle, but a gorgeous piece. I put in some styrofoam as well as some dollar store flowers, and this looks gorgeous. Definitely one of my favorite pieces that I've made in a while. It looks so pretty and put together and perfect for spring. Okay, next up, you guys know how I feel about pressed flowers. I love pressed flowers in a good frame. So I'm actually upgrading my Dollar Tree frame to a Walmart frame, and they had lots of inexpensive ones, but feel free to use a Dollar Tree one if you want to. I just love looking for specific frames that actually have the two pieces of glass sandwiched together already. It makes it super easy to go in and add whatever I want. So for this one, I just scoot over the little tabs, remove the backing and the second piece of glass, and then I was ready to decorate it. This is the only type of spray glue that I had on hand. You can see it doesn't spray very evenly. Honestly, the Elmer's spray glue from Dollar Tree works the best. It goes on purple, but it dries clear. But I went ahead and went with it. I just sprayed it on there. I actually love the texture of how this looks whenever it dries. So I go ahead and take advantage of it making my flowers stick to it and the texture when it dries, but go ahead and play around with these and just place them kind of towards the bottom just for a little different look so they're not scattered everywhere, because I want these to look a little bit more intentional. After it completely dried, I sandwiched it back inside of the frame. You could take this same idea to make a tray. I just left this as a frame. This is something I wanted to display these beautiful flowers from. I usually pick up pressed flowers from Amazon, but they just look so beautiful, so easy to use, and such a gorgeous, bright, colorful piece. Next up, I thought this was the neatest thing, were these ceramic wall pocket hangers. I'm not sure exactly what you would use these for, but I just thought it would be fun just to use it as it kind of shows in the photo, adding some greenery into it. I love how these have a flat back, and they do have the little hole if you wanted to screw these to the board, or you could even drill a hole in your board to make this a little bit stronger. For video purposes, I just like to hot glue everything down to be very quick and speedy, but I go ahead and use a couple of different of these Dollar Tree signs ready to go with the little wooden bead hangers, and they're already textured and have the lines in the backing, which I feel like is gorgeous. Just stuffing in a little bit of greenery. This specific greenery came from Hobby Lobby, but you could use whatever you like, but I think these are really cute and would be fun hanging from a shelf. Okay, so I thought of an idea and I had to test it out. Taking one of these Dollar Tree mirrors, this is actually a really good size, and I wanted to put some of these diamonds in there and pour resin over it. So this is super easy. You do want to like seal it off, so I did put some hot glue in between the mirror and the frame, just so it's going to hold my resin inside. Now, when you are working with resin, always wear gloves and have proper ventilation and any type of protection that you need. Definitely look up all of the safety guides, because it is a really strong like chemical smell that you do want to be safe around. So make sure that I always like have fresh air and wearing gloves. And I go ahead and put my diamonds in there and pour the resin over it, letting this set up. I did have to do a couple of pours, but I did leave this overnight and half the day the next day, and it dried really nicely and something fun that you could display jewelry on or make it like a candle plate. Today I am using these tall candle holders in several places in this video, or these hurricane lanterns, but I'm also pairing it with some of these little tulips. And I did pick these up at Target Dollar Spot. So you can find lots of different floral picks out at Dollar Tree. I also love checking Walmart, Hobby Lobby, but these just really caught my eye and they have like a real feel to them. They were $1 each, but just look for any type of tulip that you could cut down the size of the jar. I wanted this one to be different. I'm actually putting the tulip down inside of the jar or the glass instead of it acting as a vase and the flower sticking above it. But I needed to dress it up just a tiny bit first. So I added in some white rocks from Dollar Tree, mixed some of the Dollar Tree Plus Section epoxy, and if you can't find it at Dollar Tree, Walmart always has it, especially in like the Mod Podge brand. I really like using that brand, but you just mix 1 part hardener, 1 part resin. You mix it for like 3 to 5 minutes. Always make sure that you use proper safety gear, a mask and gloves and goggles or glasses, just to make sure that you're being super safe. I know epoxy is very like smelly and you need to be safe with it, but after I got it how I liked it, I just put a little bit at the bottom. I put in these tulips. I did 2 taller ones in the back and a shorter one in the front, and these are gorgeous. This would be perfect for a wedding or party display, but also just for spring, as that perfect pop of color, and they just look so natural and cute. This is a really fun DIY. Dollar Tree has these really big jars, and if you remove the lid, they're just perfectly glass, like have wide mouths on them, and really pretty. So I found these little picks at Walmart. I just loved how they had greenery, dark flowers, light flowers, and just loved the combo look of this. And I feel like it was a really great deal. I'm pretty sure it was around $1. For this project, I am just sticking a little bit of hot glue down in the bottom and then gluing these flowers to the bottom. We are going to be filling these up and putting some floating candles right on top. So I want to make sure everything's nice and secure to the bottom. Make sure that you do use cold water, because you don't want any hot water heating up your hot glue, because all of your plants or flowers are going to float to the top. But to go ahead and secure everything down in there, fill these up with water. I added some LED floating candles. I actually found them at Walmart in the pool section. They were really cool. I won't have to worry about a real flame, but if you do enjoy the smell, to put off a good scent, you could use the real wax ones. And I thought they were so cute and would be so fun to label them with my Cricut. So first off, I switched the tops because I felt like they had more contrast when you did that, so I instantly loved that better. And then I made some really cute labels using Cricut Design Space, but I'm going to go in and show you more detailed about how I make the next project, so stay tuned for that. But how cute did these turn out? I love how the labels coordinate with the top, and it just looks really nice put together on that tray. I chose a few different labels. Make sure you always measure your jar or what you are putting your decal on to make sure it's going to fit. So I got all 3 labels, and these were coordinating but had the different labels on there, and then I position them in place. The Cricut mat has guidelines so you can see how big it is going to cut. So I get that all set up on my phone and just hit the make it button. And then using my weeding tool, I pull all of the excess vinyl away. This is my favorite part. I feel like it's so satisfying getting all of the extra little pieces out of there, and then you reveal your beautiful little label or decal. And then using a piece of Cricut transfer tape, I cut down a small size, put it over my image, and this is transferring the image onto the clear paper. So I'm using my little scrubber tool or rubbing tool and getting that nice and tight on the transfer tape, and then smoothing that on top of the jar. And that's how easy it is to go within just minutes of starting to cut this out and getting it on the jars. I think it looks so beautiful. I filled it up with cotton rounds and some makeup wipes, these reusable makeup cloths. I love using them, and this will just keep them really safe and dust free so they're clean each time I want to use them. I am going to be using the same method on these next couple of DIYs, but how cute are these bath salt and bath bomb little labels? And I recently picked up some bath bombs at Dollar Tree. I think they were put out for Mother's Day, but they were like these mini little pink bath bombs that I thought would look so beautiful in here. But there wasn't very many of them, so I am going to go back and grab another bag of them. And then for the bath salt one, I wanted to add in some Epsom salt. This not only smells really good, so it's going to make your bathroom smell good, even if you didn't want to use the one that didn't have a lid, but I feel like this looks really beautiful together, adds the perfect decor, and you could even set these on a shelf alone. But I just love the pop of the pink bath bombs in there and feel like it looks really high-end. Now I know this piece is plastic, but I still am attaching it to some of Dollar Tree's servingware, the glassware little black bowl, and that's going to be the base for this entire project. I didn't even worry about pulling off the labels because they're going to be all hidden and glued together, so you're not even going to see them, but I glued this garden tray to the black bowl, let this cool off so it wasn't going to go anywhere, and then just started to decorate around it. So I had so much fun gluing that nautical rope around the frame. I wanted to attach it to the top of this bowl, so going ahead and making sure that this is nice and secure, and then I'll start to fill this in. My goal here was for the tiny little black rocks from Dollar Tree to be shown on top, but I didn't want to have to purchase like 6 packs of them, so I filled it in with some bigger rock that I already had, then put this tiny black rock on top. Now this is an awesome hack. If you've never tried this, definitely do. With any project like this, when you're using any type of tiny little rock that you don't want scattered or mess with your kids or pets or anything, you can actually use Mod Podge, and I just poured a ton of it over the top. Now you're going to want to let this set and completely cure before it turns clear, but just for video purposes, I didn't want to have to wait for this project, so I go ahead and stick in my little fake succulents. But you can see that even scratching it, the rocks aren't shifting around and they're going to stay nice and put. But loved how this turned out, really cute, and I love that pop of black, gives it more of like a modern look, but turned out really pretty. This next project is something that I've been dying to try forever. I wanted to try a freestanding piece of glass attached to some wood. I knew it would take a little bit of work because I couldn't just leave sharp corners up in the air, especially with young children in our house, so I was just going to play around with it. So the first thing I do is take 2 of these small little blocks that I found at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and paint these with some steel colored gray chalk paint. Let these dry. I do brush in a little bit of darker elephant color just to give them a little bit of contrast and distressed looking, and then I'm going to sandwich this glass in between these 2 pieces of wood. I still wanted most of the glass to show, so I didn't want to push this way too far down inside of the wood, so gluing this towards the top with a little bit of hot glue underneath as well as on top of the glass. Now you can stick another piece, like another block underneath for a little bit of support. This is the part that I was playing around with. I didn't know what it would look like to wrap this in rope, but I really had to try to protect those corners from anyone getting cut on this project. Obviously that is not the goal here, so we are covering this up with some hot glue and nautical rope, just attaching this as good as I could. And then I did go ahead and singe off all of the little hairs on the edges and add some more of the Walmart Really Fun stickers. I just thought this was so cute on the sticker paper, how the little love was tucked underneath the family. So I wanted to keep it just like that, attached a little flower to the bottom, and this looks so cool and gorgeous, like displayed with other decor. The first thing I go to is tissue paper, just because like decoupaging like napkins or tissue paper onto projects is super common and popular. A lot of people love to do that. So this is no different. I love this little plant print. I think it's absolutely gorgeous with all of these leaves on there. It looks very like boho, but very kind of neutral, and you could go with any style. So for this, I'm using 2 different sizes of these little hurricane lantern candle holders from the Dollar Tree, and I cut one down to size, and then for the taller one, I wanted it to be about an inch taller, so I do go ahead and lay that down and make sure that it's a little bit bigger, and then using my Mod Podge just to adhere this directly to the candle holder. Now for this project, I actually want to pair it with some of Dollar Tree's floating candles. Believe it or not, I don't think I've ever used floating candles in any of my Dollar Tree DIYs before, so excited to get to use those. I didn't even worry about the wrinkles on this jar. I just go ahead and do a layer of Mod Podge over the top of it, and then just to give this a little bit more of a finished look, I do use a little bit of the burlap ribbon to go around the top, and I just feel like it really kind of divides up the glass and the little decoupage piece and just makes it look better as a whole. So I go ahead and do the other one and then fill these up with water and add in the floating candle. I think these are gorgeous, would be a fun centerpiece, but also like really fun for like a bathroom, where anywhere that you would enjoy like the candles lit up to make it look really cozy and elegant. Use Mod Podge around the edges with some pressed flowers. I wanted to try something a little bit different today, kind of using the same concept, getting those flowers around the edges, but this time I want to pour the wax directly around the flowers and see how that works. So I go ahead and use Mod Podge. Now I have seen people in the past use a little bit of wax and put on the edges and then stick their pressed flowers on it, but I just didn't trust that 100% to go clear in front of my flowers. So I went ahead and put the Mod Podge and then just kind of pressed in these little flowers to the edges. You want the pretty side facing out, obviously, and this will dry clear, and then you can fill it full of candle wax. Now I usually pick up my pressed flowers from Amazon, Temu, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, anywhere that you want to, but just making sure that I do try to fill this in as much as possible to make it look really cute. I go ahead and place my wick down in place, holding it with a little paintbrush so it can make it stand in the middle, poured in some wax. This took a couple of candles. It did cave in at the top, that's normal. I go ahead and fill it back in, but you can see how gorgeous that this looks after the candle had hardened or cooled off. It does like really show up the gorgeous color of the pressed flowers, especially against this white colored wax. I just love this. I think this would be an incredible gift idea in so many ways that you could customize this to fit your style. So most of these solar lights come with stakes on the bottom that you have to like stick in the ground, but sometimes it's just fun to set little lanterns around outside, like on a side table or like a dining outdoor table. So a really fun idea is to pick up one of these glass candle holders. I go ahead and paint it the same color as the solar light that I'm using. I did swap out the solar light that I shared because it wasn't working. So I did have like the flickering light, but I switched it out for this one and I love it so much more. Just glued it down on there and it gets rid of the stake, and you're able to just set this down on a little side table for extra lighting. Okay, so I found this glass etched vase online for $160. It says it's trending, a gorgeous piece. It has some really fun greenery designs, little vines all around it, but it also has some personalization at the top. For this project, I wanted to share with you exactly how to do this. I'm going to skip the personalization because I'm not actually gifting this, but how easy would it be to put your last name or an established year at the top? So easy to do, and it's the same concept. For this, I just opened up my Cricut design space and I typed in vines or greenery and found some really cool designs and decided to cut out several of them. I am backwards weeding it, so pulling away the actual design itself so that it is going to leave me a stencil, and then cut around these as close as I could without getting too close because I still want there to be space to paint on top of these, and then put them all over the vase. And then I'm going to be using some glass etching cream. Also, like Armor Etch is a popular brand to do this with, but putting that inside of the design, just painting it on, leaving it on for a few minutes, and then washing it off. This project was actually really fun to do. I enjoyed cutting the paper or the vinyl away from the design and sticking these all over in different directions, and it turned out really cool in the end. If I had it to do over with, I might have filled in the little gaps in between them with some more of my scrap vinyl, but still turned out really good. I just tried to be careful with it with my glass etching cream, but it literally says to leave this on for 3 to 5 minutes. I tried to leave it on just a couple of minutes longer and then made sure that I rinsed it off really good. Make sure that you always use your gloves and protect your eyes whenever working with this stuff, but just follow the directions. But I've used it several times and I'm always so happy with the results of it. And using the vinyl, like, it worked perfect. It made the perfect custom stencil where I was able to make it however I wanted to. Like I said, you could put like a large initial at the top. You could put a date on this. I just wanted this for myself, so I'm just going to go ahead and make these fun designs all over the entire thing, but it turned out really, really good. After I washed away all of the excess residue, then I was left with the most beautiful design, just pulling this vinyl up. I left my gloves on a little bit, but I decided to go ahead and rinse it again and took them off to get the excess of the vinyl off. Also using my little weeding tool, but you can see the design on this is absolutely gorgeous. Such a fun way to take just a cheap, inexpensive dollar store vase and turn it into something really gorgeous that you could actually gift, save a ton of money, and whoever you're gifting this to is going to think that you spent a ton of money on this. With the pressed flowers in them, I just think it is so gorgeous. And actually strolling through a lot of the home decor stores, you're starting to see so many resin like pieces that you can decorate your home with. I know I've been collecting some necklace holders that had like some pressed flowers in them, as well as jewelry trays. So I thought it'd be fun to make a set that I could display in a dining area. So once again, using some Mod Podge, I'm actually going to just put it in the center of the plate because I can pour the resin in there and let it harden and the sides will catch it. But go ahead and put a layer of Mod Podge and then just put some of these flowers in there however you like, and then you can pour the resin over the top. They sell pressed flowers in so many different colors and like different flowers, but I just love a simple daisy, and pink and purple is definitely one of my favorites. I'm definitely a girly girl, so go ahead and just put whatever you want in there. I did try to put in some greenery, and then I feel like they needed a little bit of extra something, so I took some of the flowers that were kind of easy to break apart and kind of sprinkled them in the blank spots, and then go ahead and letting this completely dry before I add in my resin. If you are going to be working with a lot of resin, pick up the little $3 pack of mixing cups from the Dollar Tree. These just work well for smaller projects like this. It's not going to take a ton of resin to just pour it in the middle of these plates. And then I have a pack of just like barbecue skewer sticks that I'm using to mix these. These work really well. They're like a lot smaller than the large popsicle sticks that I have been using previously, and I just feel like they're perfect to scrape the sides and get it down in there. Like I mentioned, don't forget a heat tool. Carefully, you can heat this up to get rid of any bubbles, but I do like to go ahead and take my skewer stick and kind of poke the little bubbles as you see them. And you can work with resin for about 20 minutes before it starts to get really tacky, but definitely can come back in there while it is drying and just lightly push your flowers down in place if anything is starting to float up. Since I glued these down, I'm not getting a lot of that, but let this dry overnight, and it just depends on the amount of resin that you've put in your project. Let this harden, and then they're ready to display. I love finding projects or decor pieces that I absolutely love and turning it into my own project or DIY that I know I can make a lot cheaper at home. So $15 for a plant in a little bit of fake water, which is the resin. You can definitely make this on a budget using Dollar Tree supplies. So $1.25 for the vase, $5 for the resin. I did end up using this entire kit just to make the water look really tall, and then just whatever floral pieces that you already have on hand or you want to pick up from Walmart, so you can spend as much or as little on this as you want. But just poured the resin directly down inside the vase, and then just stirred it inside there because I'm not going to need to like re-pour it. So this made it really convenient and less mess, and just try to have fun with this and pull off some of the floral stems. I started with some of these smaller ones and they just wouldn't stand up very nice. If you needed help, you definitely could take some clear tape and just kind of do like the grid pattern on top of the vase to help the flowers stand up until the resin dries. But I decided just to go ahead and get a larger piece that I could lean everything against. So some of these flowers are coming from Walmart, some of them are from Dollar Tree, but just played around with this large pink flowers and then started leaning the smaller stuff up against it. Remember that you do have a little bit of time before the resin completely hardens, so keep checking on this project. Make sure the little stems are still way down in the resin so nothing's popping up, because you will have time and it will stay soft quite a while that you can press them back down inside. Next up, I was inspired by this golden frame. It had gorgeous little floral details on the edges, and I just love how delicate and small that they looked, and I knew I could get the same look. You can also see that was super pricey compared to what we can make it for. So I'm using one of Dollar Tree's little white and golden frames, and then I felt like these were the perfect little flowers. They had these petite little purple flower buds on them, and I was able to cut them down. But in the photo, they had like ferns in the background. So I was able to glue some of those down and then layer and stack up the flowers. And I tried to even use the leaves and the things on the stem so that everything wasn't perfectly matching. But I love how it came together and just so many little details. And then I went and spray painted this with gold spray paint, and it just turned out so perfect. You can see that it completely hid all of the colors, and you cannot tell that this is not metal and gold, like it was made that way. I just placed back in the backing. You could put any photo in here. I just put some paper to style this, but I feel like it is beautiful. I love checking like the circular displays that is sitting at the front of the store. I always find like new interesting pieces. These little honeycomb candle holders really caught my eye, and I thought they would be fun to stack up and make like a big hefty set of them. They feel like heavy duty. I feel like they set on top of each other really nicely and even. So all I had to do was add a little bit of hot glue and then connected these together. The only thing is the hot glue was trying to like seep out of the middle, and I feel like it was going to make like an ugly hot glue seam whenever I tried to paint it. So I had a fun idea to use wood filler and just kind of mash it down in the middle, and this worked perfect. It gives it that flawless seam that I wanted. You're not able to see any of the cheap looking hot glue through the paint, but it's all going to look nice and blended.